Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're finally diving into the part you've all been waiting for, the absolute cream of the crop, the rifles that live in a different zip code when it comes to pure, cold-blooded accuracy. We're counting down from number 10 all the way to the single most accurate factory bolt-action rifle you can walk into a store and buy right now. No custom shop weights, no five-figure bills, just turn the key and thread the needle performance. So grab a drink, get comfortable, because these next 10 are straight up ridiculous. Kicking us off at number 10 is the Ruger Precision Rifle, the absolute game changer that hit the scene back in 2015 and basically democratized serious long-range shooting overnight. This thing comes in 308 Winchester, 6.5 Creedmoor, 6 Creedmoor, even 224 Valkyrie and the big 300 Win Mag models, with barrel lengths from 20 to 26 inches depending on caliber, all cold hammer forged from 440 chrome moly, wrapped in that massive 1.850-inch aluminum handguard that's completely free-floated and dripping with M-LOK slots at 3, 6, 9, and the 45-degree positions. Ruger went with minimum spec bore and groove dimensions plus 5R rifling that reduces bullet deformation and copper fouling while letting you push velocities a touch higher than traditional lands and grooves. The chamber is cut so tight, most factory match ammo feels like it was hand-loaded for that specific rifle. Recoil travels in a perfectly straight line from the bore through the receiver into the folding stock. So there's almost zero torque and the rifle just sits there on the bags like it's glued down, letting you spot your own impacts at 1,000 yards. That hybrid lower profile muzzle brake is one of the most neighbor-friendly designs out there. It knocks recoil down by roughly 45% without turning your spotter's eardrums into mush. The Marksman adjustable trigger is external, goes from 2.25 to 5 pounds, and the adjustment wrench literally lives inside the bolt shroud, so you'll never lose it at the range. Magazine compatibility is insane. True AICS pattern, mag pull, P bags. Even some M14 mags run flawlessly. And Ruger's multi-mag interface means you just drop in whatever you have. The bolt is a 3-lug design with a 70-degree throw, oversized tactical knob, and it cycles smoother than most custom actions. The fully adjustable folding stock uses AR-15 buffer tubes and grip, so parts are everywhere. And the cheek riser and length of pull adjust with a single lever. Empty weight runs around 9.8 to 12 pounds depending on barrel length, which is perfect for staying steady behind a big scope without needing a gym membership to carry it. Street price right now for a Gen 3 in the popular calibers is hovering between $1,900 and $2,200 brand new, which is honestly insane when you see these things punching half-MOA 10-shot groups with Hornady ELDM or Prime 6.5 match ammo all day long. Downsides? It's a little on the heavy side for mountain hunting if you're counting ounces. And the early Gen 1s had some magazine wobble, but Gen 3 fixed all that. If you're stepping into PRS, NRL Hunter, or just want to ring steel at a mile without taking out a second mortgage, the Ruger Precision Rifle is still one of the single smartest purchases on the planet. 10 years later, and it's still embarrassing rifles that cost 3 or 4 times as much. Absolute legend. Sliding into number 9, and honestly one of the rifles that keeps punching way above its weight class, is the Bergara HMR Pro. For years, Bergara was the quiet barrel wizard building match-grade tubes for half the big names in the industry. Then they decided to slap their own action and stock on those barrels, and the shooting world lost its collective mind. What you're holding is basically a full-blown custom rifle that somehow escaped the custom shop price tag. At the heart is their premier barrel, 100% made in-house in Spain. Button-rifled, stress-relieved, hand-lapped to a mirror finish, then given one final pass on the honing bench, so the bore is stupid smooth and crowns are perfect every single time. Most popular versions run 20, 24, or 26 inches. With twist rates dialed in, perfectly for everything from 6 Dasher and 6 Creedmoor, all the way up to 300 PRC. The action is a 2-lug with a floating bolt head that self-centers every time you close it. So headspace and lug engagement are identical shot after shot, no matter how hot or dirty it gets. The cone bolt nose and spring-loaded plunger ejector feed from AICS pattern mags, like the rounds are on greased rails. I've run cheap steel case 308 through it in the rain and never once had a hiccup. Full one-piece stainless bolt body, nitrided black for slickness and corrosion resistance, threaded bolt handle you can reposition in minutes with just an Allen key, and a shrouded firing pin that keeps crap out of the raceway. Drop all that into the molded mini chassis stock with aluminum bedding block, fully adjustable cheek riser, spacer adjustable length of pull from 12.5 to almost 15 inches, and enough built-in rigidity that it feels like a Macmillan but weighs a pound less. Trigger is a Trigger Tech primary that breaks anywhere from 1 to 4 pounds with zero creep, and it's one of the cleanest factory triggers on the market. Out of the box, this thing is guaranteed sub-MOA, but most of them shoot honest half-MOA or better with factory match ammo, and I've seen plenty of 0.3 and even 0.2 groups when you feed it the good stuff. Fully loaded, it tips the scales around 9.2 to 10.5 pounds depending on barrel length, which is perfect for soaking up 6.5 Creedmoor or 308 recoil on the bench, yet still manageable in the field. Street price right now hovers between $1,500 and $1,600 for the standard model, occasionally dipping under $1,450 on sales, which is insane when you realize a lot of custom actions alone cost more than that. Downsides? It's not the lightest mountain rifle if you're climbing 14ers. The factory cheek piece hardware can loosen if you don't lock tight it. And some guys wish the grip was a touch more vertical. But those are nitpicks on what is otherwise one of the best pure precision bargains on planet Earth. If you want a rifle that shows up to a PRS match, embarrasses $10,000 builds, then goes elk hunting the next weekend without missing a beat, the HMR Pro is that rifle. And at number 9, it's honestly scary how high the top 8 have to climb to beat it. Number 8 on the countdown is the Ruger American Generation 2, and before anyone starts typing another Ruger in the comments, just hear me out, because this rifle is straight up embarrassing rifles that cost $2,000 and up. Ruger looked at the original American that already dominated the budget accuracy world, said, "Hold my beer," and dropped what might be the single biggest glow up in factory rifle history. You're getting a 4140 chrome moly barrel that's cold hammer forged in-house, rifled with a 5R pattern in a lot of the popular chamberings, then spiral fluted deep enough to shave real weight toward the muzzle without turning it into a whippy noodle. That barrel wears a thick coat of gray Cerakote and ships with one of the most effective radial port brakes I've ever run. Recoil drops so hard, you'll think you switched to 223 until you look at the target and see 308 holes touching at 100 yards. The stock is where things get ridiculous. That splatter finish gray synthetic feels like skateboard tape when your hands are sweaty or bloody from field dressing, but it's rounded and soft where your face touches, so you can shoot all day without looking like you lost a fight with a cheese grater. Pull the cheek riser off in 3 seconds if you want a lower comb for irons or red dots. Add or remove spacers to dial length of pull from 12 inches all the way to almost 14. And you can even swap the grip module between a standard sporter angle or a more vertical AR-style grip. The action sits on Ruger's power bedding integral blocks, aluminum pillars that grab the receiver exactly the same every time, while the barrel stays completely free-floated. The marksman trigger adjusts externally from 3 to 5 pounds with an Allen key that lives in the grip cap, and it breaks so clean, you'll swear someone snuck a Trigger Tech in there when you weren't looking. Weight runs right around 7 pounds scoped depending on barrel length. And the detachable magazine is still the rotary flush fit design in the standards or an AI-style box in the Predator and Ranch models. Real-world street price as of late 2025 is hovering between $650 and $730, depending on configuration. And I've personally watched a bone stock Gen 2 in 6.5 Creedmoor shoot 3-shot groups in the high ones with plain Hornady American gunner ammo. That's not cherry-picked hand-load wizardry, that's Tuesday at the range. Downsides? The bolt lift is still a little heavier than a Tikka or a high-end custom. And the factory plastic trigger guard feels a touch flexy when you're really cranking on a bipod. But at this price, those are nitpicks. If you want a do-everything hunting rifle that can stretch out past 1,000 yards on steel without apology, Or you're just getting into precision shooting and don't want to spend $2,000 to find out if you like it. The Ruger American Gen 2 is the one that keeps making people sell their expensive Safe Queens. It's not just accurate for the money, it's accurate, period. At lucky number 7 sits the Browning X Bolt 2 Composite Stainless. The rifle that feels like Browning finally listened to every hunter who ever muttered, "I love the X Bolt, but man, I wish they'd fix this one thing," and then went ahead and fixed all the things. They kept the silky 3-lug 60-degree bolt throw that made the original famous, but gave the new receiver way more bolt guide real estate, so the action now cycles smoother than anything else in the safe, even when your fingers are half frozen and you're wearing bulky gloves on a late-season stand. That spiral fluted bolt and big teardrop knob snap open and closed so fast it almost feels unfair. And the DLX 3-lever trigger is straight witchcraft. Factory set right around 3.5 pounds with 0 take-up, 0 creep, and 0 over travel. It honestly breaks cleaner than some custom triggers I've paid extra for. Up front, you've got a lightweight Sporter Contour stainless barrel that's threaded 5.8/24 and wearing Browning's radial brake that knocks recoil down hard without turning your buddy's eardrums into mush. And you can swap it for a suppressor or the thread protector in seconds. The composite stock is gray with black webbing and soft touch panels that grip like crazy when it's pouring rain, or your palms are sweating on opening morning, yet it never feels abrasive on your cheek during long shots off the bench. Comb height and length of pull adjust with simple spacers, so one rifle can fit you, your wife, or your kid as they grow. No gunsmith required. Weight hovers right at 7 pounds scoped. Balance is perfect for carrying all day in steep country. And the whole thing is stainless with a tough Cerakote-like finish that laughs at rust, even if you dunk it crossing an icy creek. Out of the box, it'll stack bullets into half-MOA or better with almost any decent hunting load. And it does it without looking like a space gun. It still has that classic Browning elegance that doesn't scare the guys at deer camp. Real-world street price right now is usually between $12.50 and $13.80 depending on the shop, which is wild when you consider you're getting adjustable everything. A killer trigger, threaded barrel with brake included, and accuracy that punches way above its weight. Downsides? Honestly, the magazine is still a little proud of the belly, and some people wish it was AICS compatible. But for a pure hunting rifle that moonlights as a tack driver, those are nitpicks. If you want one rifle that feels high-end classy, shrugs off nasty weather, shoots like it's personally offended by anything bigger than half an inch at 100 yards, and won't make you eat ramen for a month, the X-Bolt 2 Composite Stainless is quietly one of the smartest buys on the planet right now. Number 6 is the Christensen Arms Evoke, the rifle that quietly walked into the sub-$1,000 club and started embarrassing rifles that cost twice as much. For years, Christensen was the carbon fiber king, but everything they touched carried a $2,000 or $3,000 sticker. Then they dropped the Evoke and basically said, "Here, mortals, have some of that magic." You're looking at a hand-lapped, button-rifled 416R stainless barrel wrapped in carbon fiber only where it needs to be, keeping weight down and stiffness sky-high. It's threaded 5/8/24, comes with a stainless radial brake that actually works. Felt recoil feels like a stiff 223, and the whole barrel action combo is guaranteed to shoot sub-MOA with quality ammo right out of the box. The heart of the gun is Christensen's own precision-machined receiver with a one-piece bolt, dual ejectors, and a plunger-style extractor that never fails. The TriggerTech primary trigger is adjustable from about 1.5 to 4 pounds, and breaks so clean you'll think someone snuck glass in there. The stock is a spot and stalk dream. Lightweight polymer with a negative comb for perfect scope alignment, hybrid grip angle that works prone or standing offhand, integrated mini Picatinny up front for a bipod, and a decent recoil pad that doesn't feel like a brick. In most standard calibers like 6.5 Creedmoor, 308, 7 Mythic 208, or 300 Win Mag, you're hovering right around 7 pounds scoped, sometimes a hair under. Street price right now sits between $950 and $1,000 even, depending on the finish and caliber. Strengths: insane accuracy for the money, recoil you can shoot all day, and it's suppressor ready from the factory. Downsides are honestly hard to find at this price. Maybe the magazine is a touch stiff when new, and the polymer stock isn't adjustable for comb or length of pull like the high-dollar brothers. But for hunting or just ringing steel at $1,000, you're not going to notice. This is the rifle you buy when you want carbon fiber performance and Christensen quality without taking out a second mortgage. And every time someone at the range asks, "How much did that custom cost?" and you tell them under $1,000, their brain short circuits. The Evoke isn't just punching above its weight class. It's straight up bullying the division above it and stealing lunch money. Holding down the number 5 spot is the Savage Impulse Mountain Hunter, the straight pull bolt action that legitimately shocked the shooting world when it launched, because straight pulls have been around forever, but almost nobody got them this smooth, this accurate, and this hunter-friendly all at once. Instead of rotating the bolt 60 or 90 degrees like every traditional rifle, you literally just yank it straight back and shove it forward. Cycles faster than most people can work a normal bolt. And the best part is, you barely break your cheek weld or lose the target in the scope. Perfect for dangerous game or that second elk that suddenly appears behind the first one. Savage's Hexlock system uses a ring of steel wedges that expand and clamp the bolt head into the barrel extension the instant you close it, giving you lockup that's actually stiffer and more repeatable than a lot of 2-lug turn-bolt rifles. Up front, you get a genuine proof research carbon fiber wrapped stainless barrel, 22 inches in most chamberings like 308, 6.5 Creedmoor, 300 Win Mag, whatever, threaded 5/8 by 24 with a radial brake that comes in the box and knocks recoil down to almost nothing. The entire receiver is machined aluminum with a built-in 20 MOA Picatinny rail, so you're ready for long-range glass right out of the case. And the whole stock is Savage's AccuFit system on steroids. Adjustable comb height, length of pull spacers, and soft touch panels that feel grippy even when your hands are frozen or bloody from field dressing. It's fully ambidextrous. Magazine release, safety, and bolt handle can be swapped side to side in minutes. And the tang safety is quiet and positive. Weight hovers right around 7 pounds scoped, which is insane when you realize you're swinging a carbon barrel and a straight pull action built like a tank. Street price has settled around $2,300 to $2,400 depending on caliber and finish, and for that, you're getting a rifle that will consistently shoot half to 3/4 MOA with good factory ammo, cold bore, no break-in nonsense. Downsides? The trigger is decent but not quite trigger tech level, some guys swap it. And the straight pull takes a couple magazines to get the muscle memory perfect. But once it clicks, you'll never want to go back to twisting. If you're the kind of hunter who climbs nasty country, glassing for hours and then needs lightning-fast follow-ups without ever coming off the optic, the Impulse Mountain Hunter is a flat-out cheat code, and it's absolutely earned its top 5 spot on this list. Number 4 on the countdown is the Sig Sauer Cross. The wild little bolt action that looks like someone shrunk a precision rifle, gave it an AR-15 soul, and told it to go win every mountain hunt and PRS side match on the planet. Sig started with a completely blank sheet of paper in New Hampshire, pulled ideas straight from big game guides, active duty snipers, and top-tier competition shooters, and what came out honestly shouldn't be this good at this price. The heart of it is a one-piece aluminum receiver that's machined so stiff there are no joints or seams to ever shift. And then they hung a folding stock off the back that locks up so solid you can't feel a single wiggle even when you're cranking on it off a rickety bipod. Throw it forward and it's a full-size rifle. Fold it and the whole gun collapses down to just over 26 inches, small enough to stuff in a backpack or slide behind the seat of a side-by-side without drama. Barrel choices run 16, 18, or even 20 inches in everything from 308 Winchester to 6.5. Creedmoor and 277 Fury, all cold hammer forged, threaded 5/8 24, and wearing a 3-chamber brake that actually keeps the muzzle flat without turning your spotter deaf. Weight hovers right around 6.5 pounds bare, maybe 7.5 once you hang a decent scope and a suppressor, which is insane when you realize this thing still kicks like a full-power cartridge should, but shoots like a heavy-barreled target gun. The handguard is a slim, free-floated M-lock tube with slots exactly where you want them. The grip and trigger guard are AR-15 compatible, so you can swap in whatever you already love. And that 2-stage match trigger adjusts from about 2.5 to 4 pounds with just an Allen key and breaks so clean it feels like cheating. Out of the box, most of these rifles are sub-MOA guns, and a lot of them live in the half-MOA neighborhood with factory match ammo or a mild handload. Current street price sits right around $1,700 to $1,870 depending on configuration and sales, which makes it one of the best dollar for performance deals on this entire list. Downsides: the stock fold hinge is bomb-proof, but adds a tiny bit of complexity, and some old-school hunters still side-eye anything that looks this tactical, but once they shoot it, they shut up real quick. If you need one rifle that can do brutal backcountry sheep hunts, ring steel at $1,000, run suppressed without missing a beat, and still fit in carry-on luggage, the Cross is flat-out unfair to everything else in the safe. It's the Swiss Army knife of precision rifles that forgot it was supposed to have weaknesses. Taking the bronze medal at number 3 is the Springfield Armory model 2020 Waypoint, the rifle that made everyone stop and say, "Wait, Springfield makes bolt guns now?" and then immediately regret not buying one sooner. This thing is a full-on carbon fiber love letter to accuracy. The Ridgeline pattern stock is hand-laid carbon with a custom-style paint job that looks like it belongs in an art gallery, yet it's tough enough to drag through hell and back. The barrel is a carbon fiber-wrapped tension design with a stainless steel shank and match chamber, hand-lapped, threaded 5/8 24, and topped with Springfield's own radial brake that knocks recoil down so hard you'll forget you're shooting a Magnum. Weight floats right around 7 pounds scoped in most calibers, like 6.5 Creedmoor, 308, or even 300 Win Mag. And the balance is so good you can run it offhand all day without feeling beat up. The heart of the rifle is a model 2020 stainless action that's been nitrided, fluted bolt, dual plunger ejectors, and a mechanical ejector that throws brass like it owes you money. The trigger is a TriggerTech primary that adjusts from about 1.5 to 4 pounds and breaks so clean you'll think someone replaced it with glass. You get an adjustable cheek riser, length of pull spacers, M-lock slots up front, QD cups everywhere, and even a little section of pick rail built into the forend for a bipod or night vision bridge. Out of the box, it carries Springfield's 0.75 MOA accuracy guarantee with quality factory ammo, and most of these rifles shoot honest half MOA or better once you find their favorite load. Street price right now sits between $2,200 and $2,500 depending on the finish. The Evergreen Carbon or the Cool Desert Camo versions cost a hair more, which is wild when you realize you're getting carbon barrel, carbon stock, and custom grade accuracy without stepping into full custom territory. Downsides? The magazine is proprietary and a little pricey to replace, and some guys wish the bolt knob was a touch bigger for gloved hands, but honestly that's nitpicking. This is the rifle you see hanging in the truck of the guy who hunts elk in September and shoots PRS matches in October without swapping guns. It looks like modern sculpture, carries like a featherweight, and punches way above its price tag on paper at 1,000 yards. If you want one rifle that can wear camo in the mountains and still embarrass 10 grand customs on the clock, the Waypoint is legit one of the smartest buys on the planet right now. Runner-up at number 2, the Daniel Defense Delta 5 Pro. When a company that's been supplying the US military with battle-grade ARs for years decides to jump into the precision, bolt action game, you sit up and pay attention. And man, did Daniel Defense deliver something scary with this one. They basically took every lesson learned from building rifles that have to work in the worst places on Earth and crammed it into a bolt gun that shoots like it's personally offended by anything bigger than a 1/4-inch group at 100 yards. The heart of the beast is a true cold hammer forged barrel made from their own proprietary steel blend, button rifled, stress relieved, and finished in Cerakote. The cool part is the barrel swaps in literally a couple minutes with nothing more than a Torquey wrench and a go, no-go gauge most people already own. Want to jump from 6.5 Creedmoor to 308 to 6 Dasher for the weekend match? Done, no gunsmith, no waiting. That barrel rides in a stainless action that's mechanically bedded with an integral recoil lug, so it returns to zero even after you've swapped calibers twice and flown across the country. Up front, you've got an Area 419 Hellfire brake system that kills recoil and muzzle rise so hard you'll think you're shooting a Tube 23, yet it's still side vented, so Your buddy on the spotting scope doesn't get sandblasted. The bolt is a 3-lug design with a 60-degree throw, floating bolt head, and it runs so slick you can cycle it with 2 fingers even when it's filthy. The Timney Elite Hunter single-stage trigger is adjustable down to about 2 pounds and breaks like the proverbial glass rod. 0 creep, 0 over travel, just pure magic. The full chassis is Arca Swiss the entire length, M-lock at 3, 6, and 9 o'clock. 10 QD sling points so you're never hunting for a spot to attach a bipod or sling, and the folding stock adapter locks up with 0 wobble. Cheek riser, length of pull, all toolless, all rock solid. Weight sits right around 9.5 pounds, ready to rock with a medium contour barrel, which is perfect because it soaks up recoil but still carries like a hunting rifle when you throw it in a pack. Out of the box, it's guaranteed to shoot half-MOA with match ammo, and most of them do a lot better than that. Cold bore, no cleaning, straight from the factory. The only real downside is you're going to spoil yourself. Once you shoot a Delta 5 Pro, every other factory rifle feels like it's trying harder and losing. Street price right now is hovering between $2,500 and $2,700 depending on caliber and finish, which sounds steep until you put it side by side with a full custom that costs $8 to $10 grand and realize the DD is usually shooting just as tight or tighter. This is the rifle that walks into a PRS match and production division, embarrasses a bunch of $10,000 builds, and then goes elk hunting the next weekend without missing a beat. If you ever hear someone say, factory rifles can't compete with custom, hand them a Delta 5 Pro, step back, and watch their entire argument fold faster than the stock on this thing. Absolute monster. And finally, claiming the undisputed top spot, the absolute monarch of production precision rifles, the one that militaries, special forces units, and elite law enforcement agencies around the world keep ordering in bulk for missions where failure is simply not an option, the Sako TRG-22A1. This Finnish masterpiece has been refined over decades, taking real-world feedback from some of the toughest operators on the planet and turning it into a rifle that flat-out refuses to miss. At its heart is a heavy-profile cold hammer forged barrel that comes out of the factory with a bore so perfect it routinely delivers half-MOA or better groups right out of the box. No break-in required. Even if the first shot is cold, the rifle is filthy, and you're shooting in driving rain or blowing sand. The action is built like a bank vault, with a robust 3-lug bolt that locks up with 0 flex, a fully adjustable double-stage trigger that lets you dial in the exact pull weight and feel you want without tools, and a folding stock that locks solid when extended, yet drops overall length way down for transport or parachute jumps. The aluminum chassis is wrapped in a tough polymer skin. There's an integral 20 MOA rail for long-range optics, detachable box magazines that feed flawlessly, and a muzzle brake that tames even the hardest kicking Magnum chamberings while staying suppressor ready. It's chambered primarily in 308 Winchester for the classic military configuration, though 6.5 Creedmoor and Boy 300 Win Mag versions exist, and the whole package tips the scales around 13 pounds fully loaded. Heavy enough to soak up recoil and stay rock steady on target, but still portable enough for real field use. What makes the TRG special isn't just one standout feature, but the way everything is over-engineered to survive extreme cold, heat, dust, and abuse that would destroy lesser rifles. Yet it still maintains match-grade accuracy shot after shot. The downside, if you can call it that, is the price tag. Street prices usually hover right around $6,000 or a touch more depending on configuration, which puts it firmly in professional grade territory and well above what most hunters will ever spend. But when you shoulder it, send 5 rounds downrange at 1,000 yards and see them stack into a group you can cover with a quarter. Suddenly that number starts feeling like a steal for something this capable. This isn't a rifle you buy for casual range days or weekend deer hunts. This is the one you reach for when the stakes are life and death, when the shot has to land exactly where it needs to, from impossible distances under impossible conditions. For pure, no excuses, factory-built precision that has proven itself in combat zones and sniper competitions worldwide, nothing else on the market today touches the Sako TRG-22A1. It's not just number 1 on this list. For a huge portion of the professional shooting world, It's the gold standard that everything else gets measured against. There you have it, the 10 most accurate production bolt guns on the planet right now. Which one surprised you the most? Drop it in the comments, smash that like button if you enjoyed the ride, and if you haven't already, hit subscribe and the bell so you never miss when we do this again. Until next time, stay safe, shoot straight, and we'll see you at the range.